conference is being recorded.
No, someone may have a different view of your own. Then let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another on a scriptural discussion, the Son of Man. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHPR, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. So tune in to Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHPR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 868-0342 and 868-0351. Of course, the area code 3. That's 313-868-4326, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live. Scriptural discussion.
Open the conference room.
Your conference recording has stopped. This conference is being recorded.
Okay. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Say what? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again. Just a moment. I greet all of you once again with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's salam alaikum. I feeling a little physically unfit this evening, but I know it'll get better. I ain't worried about it. We want to talk to you about many things, but I like to I'm so thankful that the internet exists. And I have people talking about they hate America. I do not hate America. I hate some of the things that have happened to me in America. And the slavery, neither us nor white people had no choice in that, because that was prophecy. And I don't care how much you try to change prophecy. You remember when Jesus was talking to Peter and told him, "Get thee behind me, Satan. You savor the things that are of men and not the things that are of God." When we find out what God say gonna happen, we accept that. And we go do that. Do you understand? If Allah's word was prophesying that I have to go out here and get shot down, I would not try to stop that from happening. I'd go out there and get shot down. You can't just believe in God when it's convenient. He is God. And he's God all the time. Do you understand? They're not getting in trouble for what they did to us in slavery. What they get, that's why he said, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. What they getting in trouble for is after I spoke to them. And they still act a fool. Just like you. You ain't getting in trouble for how you acted and what you did before you heard the truth. You only being judged after you heard the truth. Whatever you did before I got here and started teaching you, you was forgiven for that without even asking. Everybody was. Now we get to that story about the man who gave everybody a penny at the end, and some of them got mad. Huh? And the prodigal son, who his daddy gave him a party when he woke up, and the others got mad. His brothers got mad, right? They forgot whose house it is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said if God wants to continue to let them live on the earth, that's him and God. You just get the part that he give you and don't be worried over his. That's what he said. A lot of things I resented my mother for. Teaching me, trying to get me not to fight back when people fight me and all that kind of stuff. I grew up and I understood now that I needed to be taught these things. I was told those things, but I wasn't taught them things. And I understand now that you don't repel evil with evil. You repel evil with goodness. But nonviolent don't mean cowardice. It means I ain't gonna start nothing with you. But if you start something, whatever I do to you after that, you brought that on yourself. Am I clear? Yes, all right. Okay, now, it's like you notice people come in here and I do something that you don't never see no talk show host or no preacher, nobody that gets on the air will let people come into their arena and cuss them out and talk crazy to them. They even when you call in some of them radio shows, they'll ask you your name and all of that stuff. You won't give your name and they won't let you talk. And you have to tell them what you want to talk about and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I let you come in here and argue all you want, as long as you keep it, kind of respectful. You get too way out, I'll put you out. And then when you call back, if you talk like you got some sense, I'll let you put forth your view. Who else you know of do that? And then you get mad at me because I argue back with you. He got nerve enough coming here to accuse me of disrespecting you. Simply because I will not let you overtalk me. And simply because I may stop you on something that you said and ask you on what are you based in that. That don't make sense to me. When you stop me, I explain myself. Who you supposed to be that I can't stop you and get some explanation of what you talking about? People like the lady that got mad at me for speaking up for Dr. Cosby against these people that apparently are liars. I mean, it's only so much milk you can get out of a cow's udder at one time. I mean, how many people got to come in there and tell you somebody raped them, and they didn't get filed no report or whatnot before that story started looking strange. How much milk you gonna get off that lie? You got you just seen on TV here this it's a 15-year-old and a 18-year-old. They was there, and first she said the boy it was consensual. They didn't do nothing. That they did something, but she wanted something to protect herself from getting pregnant. And later she called it rape. But even her, they went and got some kind of report or whatnot. And even the report that they got, according to what the news shared, wasn't etched in stone as to what really happened. Do you understand? Well, she went and told whatever it was that happened. Now here you got these grown women. And that boy, they say it's a prep school, so it's, and most everybody, you know, some people, they go there, got money. Huh? I hear these people hobnobbing with the big wigs in Hollywood and whatnot. And back in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, Bill Cosby wasn't no greatly powerful man. What black man in America could claim to be that powerful that he could go around raping women and nobody gonna do nothing? Ain't no white man that powerful in this country. How about it? Once it hit the fan, it's out there, and they're coming after him. Huh? But now here these people. You know, I didn't mean no harm by what I just said. I know y'all. I simply said once it hit the fan. But the point is, all of them saying the same exact thing. I was scared. Well, why you ain't scared now? There's something going on behind closed doors. I'd sure like to know who the puppeteers are that's done told them you can do this, and we got it. We got enough judges and venues that we can, if we get them in there, we can, you know, juries don't just, I mean, it's supposed to be a random thing, choosing. Yeah, well, you know, there's a whole lot of things supposed to be that ain't, you know. And while I'm on that subject, if I was you all, I'd go back to them pencil-in ballots. If I was you, and you want your country back, that's one way to get it back. Us electronic things can, man, you'd be surprised what you can do with electronic stuff. But I know you, I'm just a little dumb darky that's got delusions of grandeur. You know, I think I'm the son of man, you know, so that's a delusion of grandeur, you know. So, but you can't say I'm paranoid and delusional, because I go everywhere I want to go. I ain't worrying about you. So I'm just delusional, you know. But anyway, I was thinking over the lady that, if she's listening, I'm not making fun. I don't want her to think I'm making fun of her. But, she may have been a victim of that herself. People who have truly been victimized, they automatically empathize or sympathize if, a person that won't lie about a thing like that, they don't think nobody else will. It's like my daddy. My daddy, you said, grown folks ain't gonna lie on you. Get in there. I'm gonna beat your rump. Well, newsflash, grown folks would lie all the time. But my daddy, he was, look, man, even I can remember when growing up, the neighbor across the street could beat my rump. And if he told my daddy, if I went home and told my daddy, I was gonna get another beating. They used to holler out across the street, hey, we're leaving. If you need anything out of there, it's open. Everybody on the block knows he's leaving home, and you come home with nothing stole out your house. And neighbors just borrowed whatever they wanted to borrow from you. Cups of sugar, carton of milk. I should say a bottle of milk, because the milkman used to come by and leave it. The milkman used to come by and leave your milk sitting out there on the door. Ain't nobody come and steal your milk. You just don't know how far this country done failed. But anybody who remember the 50s, they'll tell you. I was in elementary school in the 50s. And so I remember these things. Gas was 12 cents a gallon. You just don't know. But I tell you, people now, they look for opportunities to pick your pocket, to you standing up there at a one of them ATMs. If somebody's standing behind you, you better not let them see your pen and number. They'll bleed you dry. Get your credit card and run it as many times as they can. Everybody is scheming. Now, is it anybody that's listening to me that disagrees with what I just said? Are we living in a day and time that's perilous? That people always got some angle they coming at you from to get your duckies. They want your money. Huh? They want your money so bad, and they get it so they want to get it so fast that they forget. They'll be telling you they're taking your order, and they forgot what order they took and sent you the wrong thing. Am I lying? You said this ain't what I ordered. Then they put you through some bunch of 369 to get the right thing. Oh, we so sorry. Yeah, you sure are. But it's all about the money. Money talks. Even got a Supreme Court standing up in there talking about spending your money is free speech. The Supreme Court judge. I ain't lying on Justice Scalia. You heard him. He called it freedom of speech. Money talks, man. That's what he was saying and laughing. Because they done made the American people so dumb that they literally now picking your pocket right out in the open and daring you to say what you doing with my money. And if a president dare to say we're going to spend the American people's money back on America and its people, they call him a traitor, call him a socialist. Well, ain't that what they ain't a socialist? What's wrong with socialism? If it means taking what people give in taxes and making sure that it gets used for the people who gave it. What's wrong with that? This is your opportunity. All you people out there that keep on talking about you want to repeal the Affordable Care Act, or you call it Obamacare. Come in here and explain to all us poor folks how it's in our best interest for you to take that back. And tell us that you still care about us in the same breath. If you don't have millions of dollars in America, you better not get sick. That's the way it was. You get sick, you just hope you don't. You hope you got some life insurance before you. They'll say your life insurance now enough to bury you. What, $10,000 policy? They tell you don't need no checkup or nothing. You know, enough people do that. They know you're gonna live as long as you can. You're gonna try to stay here, and so they ain't losing no money. And so they'll sell you that, you know, but they ain't gonna sell you no policy that's gonna leave your family well off if something happened to you. No, they can put you in the ground, and that's the best they're gonna do for you. You know, so I can't thank the Obama administration enough. And it wasn't just President Obama who came up with that. Or haven't you looked at his staff, his cabinet? His vice president is a white man. A lot of his advisors are white people. Them is the white people that America, that are the saving grace of America. Not these racist rednecks that's sitting up there wearing suits. Somebody done dressed him up in a suit and sent him out there and told him what to say, wrote it down for him. Then when you talk to him one-on-one, you discover that he can't even string a sentence together that makes sense. So, and don't you think it's mighty strange that no matter what I talk about, none of them say nothing to me. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, caller. Talk into your phone so we can hear you now.
Excuse me, caller. Let me have you repeat that. One moment. Go ahead and repeat that. Go ahead.
Brother, y'all need to do something about this echo in the phone. Okay, caller. Now, what you saying? Why don't you call into the conference room and unmute your phone and say what you have to say?
Yes, son of man. She hung up. Yes.
I sent you the email. I sent it to a brother by the name. It was email. I sent it to that brother. His email was JC Muhammad.
Okay, I promise you, I'll get to that. Right now, I'm talking about another subject, brother. I ain't forgot it. I got it right here in front of me. I'm gonna read it and answer it for you.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
But that's okay. You don't have to apologize. He had some scriptural questions, and I ain't got into the scriptures yet. I was trying to. It's some things I need to say on behalf of Dr. Cosby. And you know, how many? Let's be honest. How many rich black people have ever came out and really talked to us more on the level of a father than as a celebrity? Did y'all like everything your father said to you? What, did you? You know, this is me lying. I used to think I hated my daddy. That old man made me sick. Because every time I got ready to do something, it was always wrong. And most of the time it was wrong. But you know, I didn't have sense enough to know it. And so he'd scold me and tell me, no, you get yourself on back there and do like I just told you. And he'd see us over there messing around there with Mr. Wilson's, over there by Mr. Wilson's fence. Mr. Wilson had some plums in his yard. And we used to get up and to jump over the fence and slip on his tree and get his plums. And you know, so you know, my old man would be sometime looking when we didn't know he got back home, and we didn't know he was back home. And be getting ready to hit that fence. He said, "Get your rump back over here and leave that man's tree alone." Because we had apricots, and just about everybody had some kind of fruit trees in the yard. But you notice you don't find fruit trees in people's yards no more. They're all in the market. But anyway, so my daddy used to, matter of fact, all my teachers was more like the black teachers, especially. And even some of the white ones, they talk to you more like they was your parents than they talk. You know, they wasn't no friend. You didn't look at them as no friend. And but you notice I read pretty good, don't I? I can do math pretty good too. And I can hold an intelligent conversation with someone, even if I'm not knowledgeable of what they are knowledgeable of. I know how to listen to be able to become more knowledgeable from listening to a knowledgeable person. And I have sense enough not to be trying to argue with someone who knows more about a thing than I do. I used to hang out with old men, and they had little sayings. And I'm so thankful for it. As he say, look, Marvin, that's what he said, Marvin. He said, an empty wagon makes a lot of noise. A loaded one only rumbles every now and then. That was his way of telling me, you talk too much and you need to be quiet. Stop thinking that every time you're in the presence of somebody, you got to be talking. That's a child's way. And if you make him be quiet, he go to sleep. that's about it. You can't have quiet, he go to sleep on you. Gotta be making some noise. Yeah. So
everybody talking about Bill Cosby. A lot of people talking about Bill Cosby. And then they will institute where he needed to be brought down, or he needed that. Why? Because he fronted black people. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if you can't put shame in a man, you can't change him. You know what made me stop acting a fool out in the public? My daddy come out there and embarrass me. He wasn't going to say, wait till I get you home. He's going to come out there and call me a scound or something. Come here, you low down scound. And all my little friends standing there. And I'm looking over there and they laughing. It was embarrassing. What am I going to do? Tell my daddy, hey, you embarrassing me, old man. He did more than that. So what I had to do, I didn't just slow my roll, I stopped that roll. Do you understand? I didn't do the things that he was embarrassing me for no more, because it was embarrassing. And so I thank him for correcting me. I thank him for shaming me into straightening myself up. And so likewise, you know, they talk about, well, the famous pound cake speech, that was the beginning of the end for him. Why? Because he said, if you know somebody trying to shoot you down or trying to look for an excuse to do something to you, and you go there and take something from their premises, you go in a store and you pick up something don't belong to you and then try to walk out with it, and then you get shot in the process. He wasn't justifying the shooting. He was saying, why do you give people the excuse to say that you were vandalizing their store? What were you doing with the pound cake? You say, what was they doing shooting him? Well, what was he doing giving them a reason to shoot him? It don't take much reason. I mean, you can be walking down the street with some Skittles and a hoodie on, and at night, and some nut can follow you until he gets you to running. And then if you stop running and stand your ground and ask him, what in the world you following me for? He can attack you with his gun and then say that he had a right to stand his ground and murder you because you fought him. That's what, look here, man. We are the ones that's, as the book says, yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I used to couldn't say I fear no evil, but when I accepted Islam, my fear left. Not because I want to go walk around here and kill somebody either. It left because there truly is a God, and his name truly is Allah. And you ask any of them people who are Shriners or Masons or whatnot, and they will tell you, if they ain't too scared, they will tell you that, yes, Allah is God. That's right. So now, because Dr. Cosby, I don't know of no other millionaires that look like us that took the time out to start going around, not getting paid for it, but going around talking to young people and old people, and talking to us as a people about things that we should and should not do in order to make us a better people. Yes. Yeah, but you know, he was not a millionaire. You know, I'll grant you, MC Hammer did try to help a lot of brothers that he grew up with and stuff. And but you know, you can't help us if you don't know how to stop us from pulling you down. But we'll pull you down. Because we some sick people, man. And if you ain't one of us, you ain't never gonna be able to help us, because we will insult you in a New York minute. Yeah, just to see. Watch it, and they'll just to mess with you, because we crazy. White people, y'all drove us crazy. I remember the FBI came up to the messenger. The messenger said, he came up to him and said, "Hey, Elijah, you got a hard job." And the messenger looked at him and said, "You made it hard." He said, "Oh, Elijah, I was not here when that was our fathers who did that." He said, "But can you show me where you have changed any of what your fathers taught you?" And he said, "Well, Elijah, you just want to blame us anyway." He said, "Well, if the shoe fit, in so many words, you know. So, you know, if you couldn't deal with him, I don't know what you expect you gonna gain with me. I'm his Lord." He said that. As he said, "I'm here." He said, "You give me about 6 months." He's talking to me. He said, "I will have you so smart." He said, "And you'll be just as big a boy as I am." And he said, "Not saying that I'm the big boy." He said, "But I'm trying to make you the big boy. And then I'll get behind the door and peep out at how you will react." He was talking to me. So before you can become a big boy, you got to be a little boy. So I was a little black boy walking around in America, growing up to be a big boy. And what is a man other than a big boy? If he's the right kind of man, he recognizes that he's still a child in the eyes of God. So white folks kind of did us a favor when we get grown, he still call us boy. Well, I am God's boy, but I'm the son of man to the rest of y'all. That's what a boy is. He's the son of man. So I'm trying to provoke somebody into calling and clowning so that I love to argue with people. It's just, you know, but most people, they think insulting you is arguing with you. You know, you've heard people come in here and throw some insults out there, and then when I get on them about it, say, "You said you want to argue." Well, that's not arguing. I like to talk to people like Dr. Tyson and even Mr. Neubauer. I enjoy exchange with him. You know, it got a little much for him, but I was enjoying it. And you know, because that is the way you get sharper. Scientists love to argue with one another. You know, one present facts and then another one show him a fact that he didn't see before. And he don't say, well, I'm gonna still say no. He said, oh man, I'm sure glad we had this conversation. He said, that's the part I was missing. How many of y'all saw the Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves? Okay. You remember when he went there to the blackboard and started erasing stuff, and the lady said, oh, don't do it. And the scientist, he just stood there and watched. Because if that man standing up there looking at that board and starts erasing things, that told that scientist that man, he didn't just start erasing the whole board, he erased parts of it. And that told that scientist that, hey, this man must know something. The stupid one, the woman, she's not no scientist, so she couldn't see that. You know, it's just like Pharaoh. Pharaoh wasn't as bright as, you know, as he thought he was. Because if he had been as bright as he thought he was, he never would have attacked Moses. He would have known that he better give Moses what he asked for and let him go on about his business. But Pharaoh was arrogant. He was proud. And so, I mean, he didn't have sense enough to realize that don't nobody that was afraid of you and used to be under you start coming back giving orders to you unless he done met with somebody equal or greater than you in power. Because you don't just stop being afraid of a bully unless you done met somebody who done showed you that bully ain't got nothing on him. Huh? All right, well, that's intelligence. But you got to be kind of dense to mistreat your brother, your fellow man in the first place. To enslave your fellow man, you ain't too bright, no way. I'm just, that's like people think they can make peace through murder and shedding blood. That's a fool. Have you ever looked at people that's grieving over people that they just lost? Do they look like they're gonna be at peace with you? Well, anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. Dr. Cosby put himself in harm's way when he started trying to help us. And I'm not going to leave him out there by himself. Now, I told you before, and I'm saying it again. Any attack on him will be treated like it's on me. The same as with President Obama. I said the same thing about him. Because he ain't being jumped on because he did anything in the way of breaking their law. He's being jumped on because his skin is black and he's trying to help black people. That's the reason they jumped on Dr. Cosby. They jumped on President Obama because they just can't stand to see a black man exercise intelligence and be in the highest office in the land. So no matter what he tried to do, their strategy was just vote against it. No matter what he tried to do, just vote against it. Don't help him do nothing. And they acknowledged that. The news media told us that. I didn't make that up. They told us that. Some white people, like Michael Moore, he came out and said the meeting that they had and said they was going to make President Obama. The Republicans got together on election night, 2008. Said we're going to make him the invisible president. And that's why Mr. Eastwood came out there and put that in that chair there and was talking to the invisible president and letting them know that everybody ain't with what y'all doing. He said, and as far as he was concerned, everything he was saying, it wasn't Barack Obama sitting there. That was Clint Eastwood talking. And he said, I'm 80-something years old, so what can they do? I mean, that's another man that I have great respect for. You know, so I could not, in good conscience, paint him with the same brushstroke as somebody like Ted Cruz or that governor of Wisconsin. All these people running around here stoking the fires of racism. Donald Trump, he ain't no friend of mine. I know that. But Donald Trump sure pulled the cover off a lot of them hicks. He said, I can handle them. They ain't nothing. He talking about, what is he saying? He said, when I got ready to build a city over in the Bronx or wherever that was, he said, I dealt with them. I know how to deal with them. What is he saying? All of them, they're nothing but little greedy dogs. After money, they don't care nothing. They selling the country down the tube. He said they selling the country down the tube. So I ain't yet, the jury's still out on Donald Trump with me. So, but anyway, you'd be surprised. Like I told you, it's things that, well, I'll leave that alone for now. But I'm warning y'all, you better leave Dr. Cosby alone. You done gave that man enough hell based on lies. Now, I invite all of you who know any of these women that's making these accusations to come in here in this forum. And you saw how I treated the lawyer, Miss Aldrich. I don't dislike Miss Aldrich. I just dislike the position she's taken. Because Miss Aldrich was a victim of truly being raped. And she's sympathetic and empathetic to any woman that says she's been raped. That's why she made the statement about if somebody say they've been raped, if somebody say you stole a wallet, they ain't got to go through all that. And that was just her emotions talking, which is why she needs to back out of that. Because if she could go back and listen to what she said, she'd know that was out of order. How you gonna accuse somebody of rape and just your word? We supposed to run. They did that to the black man back in slavery. Just like in the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, the white man showed how that really went. If a white woman wanted a black man to sleep with, he had no choice. He'd sleep with her. If she got caught, she'd say he raped me. The white man knew she was lying. Scared as we was of white people. But it's just like They looked at us, they put us on the level of animals. All this stuff you gotta acknowledge. You notice, I'm not just saying these things. I'm saying it in a form where white people are listening. Have you heard one say that's not true yet? You know, I'll pull up some on this computer here and let him see. Yeah, ain't no, I don't be just filibustering. But since he's not fighting me on that, you have no excuse. You know what that's equivalent to? Is that a man being accused of a crime and he don't plead not guilty, and yet you sitting up there talking about he ain't guilty. That's the way you are. You just that silly. You ain't no white people come in here and say that I'm lying on them. But you, because you think that you're going to somehow get some kind of favor with him, or you just want to show off. You're going to wish you hadn't tried to show your behind to me. You just wait. I'm just telling you, I'm on your side. But you better quit. You better quit call yourself provoking me. So, if the white man don't have nothing to say when I say what he did and why and all that kind of stuff, you shut up. You heard Janice Dickinson get up there and the man asked her, did she have some advice for women? She come out, we the stronger race. That's it. She got that from her handler. All a white woman had to do is say a black man raped her and he gone. That man ain't raped none of them women. You get them in here and I'll show you. Just get them in here and let me question them in front of you. If you're telling the truth, it don't make no difference how many questions a person asks you. It don't make no difference. The truth gonna still be the truth. But if you lying, that's why you're upset. First thing a liar do when you catch him in his lie, get mad at you and want to fight you. Is that right? Yeah. I could tell you some things, but I'm not going to tell them how to put the lie over. Jewel Allison, her total reaction was just the opposite of somebody who's telling the truth. I'm just telling you, I know how people are. And you couldn't fool me no way. So I truly am a Muslim. And Allah is closer to me than my jugular vein. So, now, do anybody got a problem with something I just said or whatnot before I go into this explanation? This brother asked me for the explanation of the scripture, and I want to give it to him. But we need to tell them people, leave Dr. Cosby alone. Leave him and his family alone. They done murdered the man's son. Now I'm trying to assassinate his character. Show you the man got class though, man. And if if the court system wasn't crooked, he could sue every one of them, and he'd win. You know, these people, they think by coming in here talking vulgar and stuff, that's supposed to do something. That's why I cut Miss Ruley off. But she said she wasn't going to talk about that unless I brought it up. But she brought it up about where his private part was and all that old kind of stuff. I didn't ask her none of that. But she trying to sow something. My mind ain't fertile for that. Because all it do is make me look at you and wonder what's your problem. You just said the man didn't rape you. So what do you want? Somebody invites you to a party, girl, and you get there and ain't nobody else there but you. And the person who invited you, it's time for you to say, hey, I ain't into that. I'm out of here. Right? Well, you gonna go in and sit down and go to hear you tell it, have a drink. And you could drink any man under the table. And then when I asked about that, she backed up off of that. You ain't got nerve enough to be posting some insults to me. Why? Because I won't go along and kiss your behind? You got your people mixed up. Yeah, I respect white people. But I respect all people. I'm not going to help nobody lie on you. I ain't going to help you lie on nobody either. If I see you lying, that's what I'm going to tell you. You lying. Your story don't make no sense. Yeah. And you know, they the one helped teach me that. So since ain't nobody saying nothing, then is anybody that's listening to me think that Dr. Cosby was guilty of that? I would like you to explain to me why you think he's guilty. Forget about the pound cake. Forget about the lecture on don't be spending no $100 on a pair of tennis shoes when you know you can't afford that kind of money to pay for no shoes. Forget about all of that. Throw that out your mind and then tell me why you think that these women was telling the truth, but they were scared to go to a district attorney and tell a district attorney, or go to the police and tell the police that somebody raped him and he's a famous black man. And we'll see if the police is scared of him. do you understand? That's why you got the police. Because you scared of them. The police ain't scared of them. I promise you. They'll come get you, man. So that story now never did make no sense. Now you got this woman, Dr. Cosby said he didn't even know that woman. That talking about something happened to her at Playboy Mansion with him. Well, I saw a picture of them together. Yeah, I saw that picture too. Now, if I was two-dimensional, I would say, uh-oh. If you didn't know it, what was you doing taking pictures with? But I've had people when I was doing fundraisers up there, we'd be at the skating range. People run up to me, son of man, can I take a picture with you? I didn't know them people. I said, sure, come on. I done took a lot of pictures with people that I didn't know. Stars, and I ain't even no star. And the stars do that all the time. They even say, can I get your autograph? And they say, well, who should I make it out to? To a good friend, so-and-so and such and so and so. And they don't know you. But they know that you would like to, people like to be saying, well, I know so-and-so, he called me his good friend. And, but don't try to go to court with that. Do you know how many people that took pictures with Bill Cosby? I had an interview with Bill Cosby and I had never met him. You remember when I picked up the phone? He left a number for me to call. And at the time to call it, I picked up the phone and for the interview, never met this man. And I said, yes, may I speak to Mr. Cosby? He said, well, he's not here. And and I said, oh man, this man then gave me this number. And he started laughing. And he said, yeah, you got me. And we had a nice little talk. But I've never met him personally. But he was so down to earth when I talked with him that it was like I had known him for a long time. No, I'm not going to help you mess over that man. I try to talk to some of y'all who ain't even got millions of dollars and can't get the respect that he showed me. He ain't never called my mama no SOB. Well, the brother didn't call my mama that. He called me that. But that's calling my mother a B. And but even him. See, I know we sick. And white folks made us sick. And ain't nobody can say that ain't true. You may not like me saying that, but it's the truth. And my job is to heal us. Physician first, heal yourself. And that's what this 40-something years of me going through arguing and stuff with you, I'm finally been able to effect some healing in myself so I could help you. I know well I'm going to help you if every time you do something or say something that I don't like, I go off on you. As I used to, Oh, yeah, I'd get right there with you. I wouldn't cuss at you, but I'd go off on you. Hang that so-and-so up. Whatever. But that ain't helping you. The doctors in this world, patients come in there cursing them sometime and talking crazy to them, and they stay just as calm, and they still will call them Mr. or Mrs. And I've seen some good doctors, man, and they call that bedside manner because they realize that it's not so much as you, it's the pain that you are in that they hear talking. Do you understand? And so I had to learn some bedside manner. And so it took 40-some years to get there. But I finally got better at not being so thin-skinned and it just, taking everything personal, So now I can help you. The first one I needed to be able to help was myself to get out of that old niggardly mentality that allows people to make me fuel for their fire. See, whenever you react in a negative or hateful way because someone did something hateful to you, then they have multiplied. They have reproduced in you. So you have to not allow people to reproduce their wickedness in your heart. You understand? I think that's basically the message that our mothers, even the people in North Carolina, they wasn't happy because they relatives that got shot down. What they were actually, the message to me was, I can't hold that unless it makes me want to join ISIL. And I don't agree with them in their way. But you can be so blinded by hatred that it will make you lose sight of the right way. So I don't go along with the way ISIL go around murdering people any more than I go along with the way the Klan was done. But if I don't go along with that, the next question that an intelligent person will ask, well, what would you do? Let's see what you do. Well, now you know what I would do. I would tell them they're wrong, and I will hold my hand out and tell them, hey, man, you need to correct that. Let's sit down and talk about the word of God that you say you acted on. And you show me where at in God's word that it tells us to go and commit murder, suicide. No, that's not the word of God. That's the word of Satan. So, I want you to these people, you are double talking right now. What do you mean double talking? I don't understand what you're talking about. Not I'm double talking. If you mean that the voice is being doubled, make sure that everybody's phone is if your phone is not muted, please mute your phone unless you have a question. No, I don't think my phone done dropped. Am I in both conference rooms? Oh, yes, it's showing that I'm in 712. That's just one that you hear there. Just a moment. Let me see. Y'all pardon me a moment while I check this.
There is 1 moderator and 25 participants on the call.
You all pardon me a moment. I got to get the conference room back.
This service is provided by Free Conference. Access code accepted. There are 47 participants in this conference.
Okay.
This conference is being recorded.
All right. So any of you that think, and especially
Caucasian people.
Muted.
If you think that I'm saying something that is not applicable to you,
Unmuted.
you have a right and you have a duty to correct it. You know, I'm not bigoted. I hate bigotry. You want to talk at me, but I don't. You don't want me to talk back. What is that? That's bigotry. You want to say what you have to say, but you don't want to let anyone who disagrees with you express a point of view that may contradict what you say. If what you say is the truth, there is no contradicting the truth. So you don't have to fear what somebody's going to say if you told the truth. Now, I want to read something here, since nobody's saying anything. I want y'all to help me get some of these people that's accusing Dr. Cosby. If you know any of them, get them to come in here in this arena that's not for propaganda. Tell them to come in here and let themselves be cross-examined. Because CNN and all of them, and Fox and all of them, they just let them come on there and say what they want to say and don't let nobody cross-examine them. And you heard the lady say that they want to try it in the court of public opinion. Didn't she say that? Well, don't. In court, you get to be cross-examine people. Is that right? Don't call it the court of public opinion if it's not a cross-examination. Then call it the kangaroo court of propaganda. Now let's get back here to, and you already have my permission to bring people on here whenever, and I promise you I won't disrespect those women that come. What if she's telling the truth? So I'm not going to disrespect them, but you're going to have to see the burden of proof is not on Dr. Cosby to prove that he's innocent. They making the accusation, the burden to prove that he's guilty is on them. And they've already, you see, they come in here tainted. You know why? Because Dr. Cosby was never arrested for any of the stuff they're accusing him of. And the district attorneys, the one that I've heard talk, said there was no evidence to support the claim. Did you hear what I said? Well, if there wasn't no evidence to support the claim back there when it happened,
when are we going to cross-examine Master Farad Muhammad's criminal behavior? When are we going to cross-examine that?
you can cross-examine what Master Farad Muhammad taught through me. Well, he's not here. But you can ask me.
The email, sir.
I sent
the email.
Okay, well, I'm finna go to your email now if you was the one that sent it.
Okay.
I want you to go to the book of Revelation. And first I'm going to read the email that the brother sent me.
and his name is Real Brother. That's his screen name. Says, what's going on, son of man? I got a few questions for you, sir. I've heard a lot of different interpretations of the book of Revelation. There's no S on the book of Revelation. It's not Revelations, it's Revelation. And says there are a few verses in particular that I would like to get some understanding on. In the book of Revelation, it states, he also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is a man's number, and his number is 666. Revelation 13, 16 through 18. Well, first thing you need to do, brother, is throw that Bible that you have there, that you got that out of. You need to take that back and get your money back for that one, because they changed the way that the book was written, and by changing it, you changed its meaning. I'm going to read those verses from the King James Bible, the one that they've been revising and revising and revising until you got all these New World translations and all of this kind of thing. I want you to get your original King James version of the Bible, that translation. And that's the one I will teach you out of. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Didn't say on their right hand or on their forehead. It says in their right hand or in their forehead. Now, and that no man, the 17th verse says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. You notice they changed it. Somehow this calls for wisdom. No. It says here is wisdom. It says, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, I want you to go back and let's start at the 16th verse. And we're going to do this thing right. So just give me a minute here. Now, I think the best thing to do would be to print it out. So I'll print it out. And y'all give me a minute. I want to get this ready for you.
That ain't the email I sent you.
Well, this is the one that I received
I'll let you read the email that you sent me later, but I promised this other brother, whoever real brother is, that I would go into this scripture with him. And then I will, once I finish with that, then you can question me about what you sent me. Okay? You there?
I heard you. Yes, yes.
You sound like you have a problem, brother. What's the problem? I'm not being hostile to you. So what's your problem?
I just was wondering if you was going to read the email.
Well, yes, brother. I'll read your email.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying my best to be as patient with all of you as I would like you to be with me.
Okay.
So you all give me a minute here. Now, let's see. All right, let's get this thing together here. I want you to be able to see this. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. Now, in that 16th verse, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, when you look at the way that's worded, you discover that the forehead and the hand is actually the same thing. As what's located inside of your forehead is your brain. And what you are looking at when you look at the knowledge that is passed on to generations in the school system, you'll notice you are taught how to translate marks on paper into words. But we were never actually taught that what you see in a book is not actually a word. They never taught us to think that deep. And so that's just the nature of the mind that he gave us. It's a shallow mind. We don't think deep. For if we thought really deep, we would realize that what you're looking at on the page here is not a word. It's marks that represent words. And the alphabet are nothing but marks that we make on paper. You can see that when you look at open up a Holy Quran and you look at the Arabic writing over there to the right of each of those English verses. And then you start to see that that Arabic writing, it's all it is just look like marks on paper.
But to a person who has been taught how to read Arabic, it looks like words to them. But to the person who cannot read Arabic writing, they say, oh, there ain't nothing but some marks on paper. That's all English is marks on paper. The alphabet that you have, there's a number of marks on paper. And the mark that's on the paper don't do you no good until you get it inside your head. Do you understand? And so the book says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive. Even right now, it is law in America that you have to have children in some school. If they're not in public school, they have to be in private or home school, but you got to have them in school. That's the law. Is that right? There one time it was the law that you had to send them to public school. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad first started teaching us, it was the law that everybody had to go to public school. And he told them we cannot let people who hate us educate our children. And he suffered having to be put in jail, and some of the teachers at Muhammad's University was put in jail because they were charged with contributing to the delinquency of minors, because it was the law in America that you had to go to their school. Do you understand? But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad persevered, and that law was changed. Do you understand? Okay. Now, it says that, so that covers this part where everybody, you can be rich, poor, bond, or free, you had to get educated by them. Then it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, the education, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, the name of the beast is Caucasian. Look at the screen now. Put up the screen. CAU-CA-SIAN. Now, the reason he's called beast, and let me show you. You get your dictionary and you look it up. And this is what it says. An animal other than a human, especially a large four-footed mammal. Then it says animal nature as opposed to intellect or spirit. You remember the scripture says the natural mind cannot discern spiritual things. So the natural mind is a beast. Okay. Then it says a very large or powerful person or thing. Something of a specific kind. A brutal, contemptible person. What would you call a man who as a means of enslaving another man? A people who, as a means of enslaving another people, would take one of the strongest men of that people who was rebelling against going into slavery and beat him within an inch of his life, and then tar and feather him, and then tie his limbs between two horses, one arm and one leg to one horse, and the other arm and the other leg to the other horse, and face the horses in opposite direction, and then set that man on fire and beat those horses until he till they pull that man apart and make that man's fellow brothers and sisters and children stand there and watch it. Would you call that a brutal man? A brutal, contemptible person. Okay, let's go a little further. Any animal other than man, especially a large wild quadruped or four-footed creature. Then it says savage nature or characteristics. A brutal, uncivilized, or filthy person. Let's go a little further. Now, this is gonna make you angry, but I have to tell you this. God said of the swine, because he divided the hoof, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. Okay. What does the word filthy mean? Unclean? Greatly unclean, huh? Okay. If God called the swine unclean, then why did he make him? Look what the swine does. He eats unclean things and he lay down in it. Is that right? So when God said he's unclean, has anything changed? All right. Then what happens if you take an unclean thing and you eat it? Now what are you? What this says? A filthy person? A cruel, coarse, or filthy person? I think the point is made. Now, notice now the word Caucasian. It says, and no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or that's like saying I have 2 50-cent pieces or $1. What I'm saying? I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying, in other words, I have $1 there, right? Well, when it says, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast. Huh? The education. See, you remember I told you, you know, they got an old saying, a rose by the name was still what? Okay. A Caucasian by any other name is still a Caucasian. You can call him Negro if you want to, but he's still Caucasian. How could you go through the school system that's set up by white people? The books you studied was written by white people. The understanding of those books came from white people. How could you think that you was anything other than a black white man? Talk back if you can. You know, look at the greatest proof that I have of it is how some of you come in here and you do the same thing to me that the white man been doing for ever since we was brought here, disrespecting me. And then you holler, I'm black. No, you're not. You'd be better to say you have black skin. But the mind that's in you, that's the white man. It's time that you recognize the truth and accept it. Now, if you want to stay that way, just stop listening to me. If you want to become what you're supposed to be, then you need to listen to me. You need to be born again. He do too. Because we finna get rid of that man and everybody that houses it. I'm just telling you. You are now like a caterpillar who has reached the limit of his days of time to be a caterpillar. He either gonna have to be reborn or he gonna die. But his days to practice caterpillar is gone. Your day to practice Caucasian is gone. Now, it says to show you, that nobody would have ever gave you this and couldn't give you this until I got here. This is my way of, this is Allah's way of giving me proof of who I am for those who are willing to receive that proof. Now, it says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. His name is Caucasian, CAU-CA-SIAN. Now, how's your social security number? And what is it? You know you can't buy or sell in this country without that. That's the number of his name. A 234-93-7896. And they call it a social security number. Well, that's a good name for it. No man can buy or sell. He can't have social security without the number of the beast. Do you hear any white people coming in here saying that ain't so? He's sitting down taking notes while you sitting there getting mad because it ain't you saying this. Now, the next verse says, here is wisdom. Well, you wouldn't know why it says that unless you were familiar and remembered what the book of Proverbs said. The book of Proverbs says in the 4th chapter, it says, I'm going to cut to the chase. It's the 7th verse. It says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. It didn't mean that you got to go look for understanding. It says, get wisdom, for that is the principal thing. Principal thing means the most important thing. And with all thy getting of wisdom, understanding is the byproduct of that. It's like if you want butter, get milk. And with all thy getting, get butter. Do you understand? All right. Butter comes with milk if it's raw. It comes with milk. Understanding comes with wisdom. Do you understand? With all thy getting, get understanding. Okay, now let him, it says, here is wisdom. If it says wisdom is the most principal thing, then the wise person wants to know, well, where's the wisdom? They already got that in their mind. Yeah, I had it in my mind already. And Allah answered the question. Here it is. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding That's just another way of saying, let the one who got the wisdom count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. You remember Daniel said the visions of his head troubled him. Now, if God revealed a book, and no man in heaven nor in the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon, you are aware that sheep are beasts, right? No prophet and messenger was able to open and understand these books, but they produced a lamb. And I didn't understand it either. But he spread it before me. That's why in the song it says that, do you hear what I hear, said the little lamb to the shepherd boy. No lambs could talk. And none of you preachers out there, none of you shepherds out there that claim yourself to be shepherds of God, you don't hear what I hear. And you don't see what I see. And so it says, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for the beast number is 6. Why is his number 6? Because he was given 6,000 years or 6 days to do all of his work. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the Sabbath day shall be a holy day unto the Lord. And the Lamb is Lord of Lords. That's what the book teach you. So the beast number is 6. So it says, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, the 6. For it is the number of a man. And his number, notice, a man is not a beast. But the man's number is 666. When Allah told me to take the book, the covenant, and eat it, there are 66 books in the Holy Bible. And the Holy Quran came 600 years after the Bible. Muhammad of 1,400 years ago, Jesus of 2,000 years ago. What's the difference in 1,400 and 2,000? 600 years. So the Holy Quran is the book whose number is 600. The Bible is the book whose number is 66. And I was told to eat them. He said, eat it up, son of man. And my number became 666. Now, you might say, well, I don't believe that. Well, the next verse bears witness. If somebody say, here is the money, what's the first thing you do? You look to see what they point at. Look what the next verse said. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion. Zion means projection. That's the way they talk in the stock world. What are your projections? Oh, that's the way they talk in the business world. What are your projections for 6 months from now? What are your projections for 10 years from now? That's just another way of saying, what do you foresee coming, or where do you see us being in the future? Well, what is the Bible and the Holy Quran? It's a mountain of knowledge. It's a mountain of prophecy. It is a Mount Zion, a mount of projection. Then it says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. So you read in the book of Matthew, in the 25th chapter of Matthew, and the 31st verse, it says, and when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Well, how many angels is with me? 144,000. Said, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written and in their foreheads. And you notice, Jesus, when he was here, the gospel wasn't here. It wasn't written yet. But the book of Isaiah was written. And Jesus, when the devil tried to throw him off, the devil said, look, he knew Jesus was hungry. He said, now, if you be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread that we may eat. And Jesus said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded from the mouth of God. Okay. So, how do you know what a child's name is? They always take their father's name. My father's name is the Word of God. And if the Word of God is not the father of my mind, then who is? I'm explaining it. Now, how could I explain it if I didn't come from it? Take one to know one. And you don't know what I know. None of you do. And so they had my father's name in their forehead. So Allah, through them, he said he was going to create me. When thy Lord said to the messengers, to the angels, I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay. Sounding clay is talking clay. Every messenger of God had that in common. They brought a sound that nobody could make but them. They brought a word that no one else understood, that no one else could speak but them. And Allah told them, he said, now look, if we show you part of what we are prophesying and promise, or cause you to misunderstand, you just say what we told you to say. Do you understand? And so the one who was to come and speak to you without a single book is standing here talking to you, because each book is a measure. But Allah gave it all to me without measure. And he just said, eat it up and go and speak with my words. And as I'm speaking, I not only have what's in these books, I have what ain't in these books. I have what's in your books. I have what's in the universe. I can go in and out of the scriptures and still find the truth to share with you that you can't argue with, only accept or reject. You see? And so I'm from above, and you are from beneath. And he that's from above is above all. So it says, they had his father's name written and in their foreheads. And that is 105% the truth. Jesus had it in his forehead, and it was also written from Isaiah and David and all of them, and Moses. And so they had the word of God. And they had to complete that before I could come into being. And so the Holy Scriptures was finished, completed 1400 years ago. Muhammad, when Allah said, seal it up, he said, seal up the book. That's in the book of Revelation here. It says in chapter 10 and what verse? Yeah. In the 10th chapter of Revelation and the 4th verse, it says, and when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. You see, and you would have never understood this because it jumped from one thing to another like some of them movies do. Well, I'm the one that stand with one foot on land and one on the sea. And time is up for this world. And I say that by trusting in what I've read from the Word of God, swearing by him that liveth forever and ever. Then it says, remember Jesus said, my word shall not pass away. Heaven and earth shall pass, but the truth shall live forever and ever. Then it says, but in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound the mystery of God. That's what the Holy Scriptures are. They are God's mystery. That's his mystery. You got whodunits, and then you got mysteries that y'all write. But God wrote this mystery. And the mystery is being finished now. Everybody's being pointed out. Now you know who the beast is. You don't hear the Caucasian tell me he's not the beast. You don't hear him say that the Social Security number is not the number of his name. But what you didn't understand was that he ain't, the white skin ain't the only Caucasian. You better go look up Caucasian. Everybody that's on the planet now have been made into a different kind of Asian. And none of you understood the word of God, which means you a beast. And in the midst of 4 beasts, the lamb stood. That's right. And you better let me put my Father's name in your forehead. My Father's name is Word of God. That's what can be put in your forehead. You don't have it. You are a lie if you say you have it already. So you didn't know this already. So I'm here with it. So I appreciate the brother's question, real brother. And now I'm going to what was that all about?
Now I'm going to ask, I don't want to drop the call here. Make sure we ain't dropped the call. All right. I want to give everybody, now the brother that was asking me earlier about an email that he sent me, I assume he was talking about, he sent it to you, Brother Jamal.
Yeah, I'm the brother.
Brother, he said he didn't get no email from you. They play them games sometime. You want to read it to me?
I sent the Gmail to jcmuhammad7@yahoo.com.
jcmuhammad7.com. Check it
Yeah.
again, brother. See if it's been showed up yet. Brother Jamar? Okay. When did you send it, brother?
I sent it yesterday.
Oh. Look for it in yesterday's on the 18th.
You might have to check your spam.
Check spam too, brother.
Yeah, you might have to look in spam.
Yeah, they do that. That's the truth. Okay. Can you print it out for me right quick? Is it? Tell you what, can you forward it to me? Maybe I can just get it here. And okay. Open up my mail. And you done sent it?
Got mail.
Yes, sir. Right on. Let's see here. Is this California code? Is that what it? No, that ain't it. Do I need to close out and go back? Or what? Okay. Brother, give me a minute. I'm still waiting on him. While I'm waiting on that, did anyone else have something that they wanted to ask me? Beg your pardon?
You remember years ago, I think someone in California told you that a little black girl got shot out there stealing orange juice.
Yeah, I remember there was a little Korean lady shot the little black girl. What about it?
Well, they make an issue out of that cow big speech that Dr. Kyle made.
Well, you know, I mean, people, it's not so much as our people making an issue out of it. The white man, whatever he says, all those who worship him, they start parakeeting that. And they have no, like I said, worship, most people don't know what that word really means. It's simply, that's all you do. That's all the mind does. It ships words. And whoever taught you, that's whose words you are shipping out of your mouth. You know, you heard UPS say they run the tightest ship in the shipping industry, and they packages. That's all they do is ship packages, and big, small, make no difference. Well, all the mind does is receive and ship words. You see, you hear people say, "Well, I don't believe in God." That person don't understand who God is, and they got a fictitious understanding of God, because everybody worships, and whatever comes out of your mouth, all we have to do is trace back the source of it, and that's whose words you are shipping.
you see. So the prophets, they were told that when he bring the first begotten into the world, let all the angels of God worship him, you see. And you notice all of their words agree with what I say. So you can't get them to ship something out their mouth that don't agree with me. No, they already was told what to do. And Allah didn't leave that up to chance, because he told me to take the book and eat it. Then what was in their mouth is in my mouth, and what's in my mouth was in their mouth. So he's a mighty wise God. So I'm still waiting on it. Do I need to close it out and go back? Okay, I'm gonna just hit refresh, you say? No, I'm gonna close it out and go back to it. Here it is. I see it. Okay. Okay, in 1938, an article, just a moment. Let me put this on full page. All right. It says, in 1938, an article by sociologist Erdman Doan Bainon was published in the American Journal of Sociology, giving Bainon's first-hand account of several interviews that he conducted with followers of Farad in Michigan. From those interviews, Bainon wrote that Farad lived and taught in Detroit from 1930 to 1934. He came to the homes of Black families who recently migrated to the area from the rural South. He began by selling silks door to door, telling his listeners that the silks came from their home country. At his suggestion, he came back to teach the residents along with guests. In the early stage of his ministry, Farad used the Bible as his textbook, since it was the only religious book with which the majority of his hearers were familiar. With growing prestige over a constantly increasing group, Farad became bolder in his denunciation of the Caucasians and began to attack the teachings of the Bible in such a way as to shock his hearers and bring them to an emotional crisis. Well, that part was false. He didn't attack the teachings of the Bible. He attacked the teachings of those who had been teaching the Bible and telling us that the Bible meant this and the Bible meant that, when they didn't know what they was talking about. And it says, those interviewed by Bainon told that reports of Farad's message spread through the Black community. Attendance at the house meetings grew until the listeners were divided into groups and taught in shifts. Finally, the community contributed money and rented a hall to serve as a temple where meetings were conducted. Most of the Muhammad's temples were, who is that with the noise in the background? Most of the temples were, they were once Masonic halls, or, I know the ones out west, they had used to been Masonic temples or Masonic halls. And we rented some from the Masons, and that was the way that went. It says the Quran was soon introduced as the most authoritative of all texts for the study of the faith, according to those interviewed by Bainon. Farad prepared texts himself, which served as authoritative manuals of the faith and were memorized verbatim by those who followed him. For his interviews, Bainon described disputes and tension that arose between the new community and the police surrounding the group's refusal to send their children to public schools, and members of the group who some alleged to have participated in human sacrifice. In 1932, in an effort to obey lessons given to the community regarding the sacrifice of devils, these incidents drew police attention to the group, according to Bainan, and contributed to persecutions and schisms. Farad named his community the Nation of Islam. Following the rapid increase in membership, Farad instituted a formal organizational structure. He established the University of Islam, where school-aged children were taught, rather than in the public schools. He established the Muslim Girls Training, MGT, and referred to the fruit of Islam and general civilization class, where, pardon me, let me go back and read that again. He established the Muslim Girls Training and general civilization class, where women were taught how to keep their houses clean and cook. Now, it's very important that you understand that coming up out of slavery, the black man and woman, we was taking baths once a week, man. Some of us didn't take it then. And there ain't no sense in frowning. This is our history. You know, you need to understand where we were. And we were nasty. And we had been put on the level of animals purposely to be used as tools and slaves by white people. And Master Farad Muhammad, he saw that. He knew that. And after studying our situation, he taught us who the devil is. The white man is the devil. And the white man had been openly telling us that he was the devil, and we never knew it no way. We didn't pay no attention. He coined the phrase, well, speak of the devil. And even had you saying it. And you still didn't realize that he's the real devil. But Master Farad Muhammad, he began waking us up. I don't know who this is in the room that's making noise, but I'm gonna put you out if you don't cut it out. This is in the 712 conference room. All right. If you don't be quiet, I'm gonna put him out of here. I ain't gonna play no game with him. Now, let's see if I can get this thing. All right. Yes. Now, let's finish reading. It says, Farad named this community the Nation of Islam. Following the rapid increase in membership, Farad instituted a formal organizational structure. He established the University of Islam, where school-aged children were taught rather than in the public schools. He established the Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization class, where women were taught how to keep their houses clean and to cook. The men of the organization were drilled by captains and referred to as the fruit of Islam. Well, actually, that's not, that's something that they coined, because the fruit of Islam was actually not the men and boys of the Nation of Islam. It was the training that was given to the men and boys of the Nation of Islam. That's what was called fruit of Islam. Then it says, the entire movement was placed under a minister of Islam. According to Bainan, Farad's followers grew to approximately 8,000. Within 3 years, the Prophet not only began the movement, but organized it so well that he himself was able to recede into the background, appearing almost never to his followers during the final months of his residence in Detroit. That's because he had found the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and was privately teaching him so that he could fulfill the scriptures where God said, I will send you Elijah before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And then it says that within 3 years, the prophet not only began the movement, but organized it so well that he himself was able to recede into the background, appearing almost never to his followers during the final months of his residence in Detroit. From interviews with approximately 200 families who followed Farad, Bainan concluded, although the prophet lived in Detroit from July 4th, 1930 until June 30th, 1934, virtually nothing is known about him, save that he came from the East and that he called the Negroes of North America to enter the Nation of Islam. His very name is uncertain. He was known usually as Mr. Wali Farad or Mr. W.D. Farad, though he used also the following names: Professor Ford, Mr. Farad Muhammad, Mr. F. Muhammad Ali. One of the few survivors who heard his first addresses states that he himself said, my name is W.D. Farad, and I came from the holy city of Mecca. More about myself I will not tell you yet, for the time has not yet come. Well, more about himself, and the time for it to come hadn't came, because the only one that knew who he really was the one he came here to look for and find. That was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad met him, he immediately recognized that this was God in person. And he told Master Farad Muhammad after the first meeting that he attended, he said, I know who you are. And he said, you're God himself. And Master Farad Muhammad looked at him and gave him a kind of stern look and leaned over to beside his head, his ear, and said, yes, but who knows that? And don't you tell anyone until after I'm gone. And so that's why Master Farad Muhammad, he never told anybody who he was. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that was his job, to tell people that Allah had made an appearance in that man, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and that he had taught him for 3 years and about 4 months, and sent him to teach Black people the knowledge of themselves and to also train and raise the Messiah. And he didn't tell them exactly like that, because if he had told them like that, then they wouldn't have continued. I remember Brother Donald, the brother that brought me to the temple for the first time. He said, the messenger said that if a lot of us knew the truth, he said, we just going back in the grave now. And because he wasn't after everybody, he was after one man, and that was me. And so he needed all them temples because he didn't know where I was. He knew I would be in America, but just where to find me and how to go about it, he had to figure that out. And so it says, you have not yet seen me in my royal robes. Legends soon sprang up about this mysterious personality. Well, what he was saying was, you notice, Master Farad Muhammad looked like a white man. He was robed in sinful flesh, and so you had not yet seen God in the person of his royal robes, which is the one that is his original robes. It's the black man. Well, now you're seeing him in his royal robes. And so You know, the black man was the first man, and the black man is the last new man. And I'm a new man. You have never met a man like me. You, just like there had never been no man before the first man. He was black, and there was no man like him. And now there's a man, black man now, who is the last new man. And there ain't no one like me. Even that was given the privilege of being called sons of God, they even knew that they was not yet appearing in righteousness. As the scripture said, it don't yet appear what we shall be. He said, we are called the sons of God. He said, but it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him when he appears. That's because all of them are with me. And so we are all like-minded now, but we are all in one. Do you understand? All of the minds that was in them, their wisdom has taken up residence in this vessel here. And so the Lord and his Christ, that's those are the many crowns that I have on my head. As the book said, upon his head were many crowns. And that's each one of them crowned me with light of understanding. And Farad used the name W.F. Muhammad on several lessons written in 1933 and 1934. In 1933, he began signing his name W.F. Muhammad, which stands for Wallace Farad Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad he taught that. I thank this brother for sending it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, basically that article is true. The basics of it is true. They messed up a few little spots in there, but for the most part, that's true. I'm gonna finish because there's more to it. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said that when Master Farad Muhammad came here, he signed his name W.D. Farad. And he said, and when he left, he signed it W.F. Muhammad. And the name Wallace, it means stranger. Some people say brown stranger, but it means stranger. Remember it says I was a stranger and you took me in? Yeah. So it's much symbolism in everything that he did. The name Farad, it means opening, you see. And you notice the Lion of the tribe of Judah, he hath prevailed. He overcame, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad overcame his fear thanks to Master Farad Muhammad's teaching. And Master Farad Muhammad made him the second self of himself. And so the Lion of the tribe of Judah, he hath prevailed to open the book. And Farad means opening, you see. And so it's much to be understood. Efforts to trace Farad's biology. A declassified FBI memorandum dated May 16, 1957 states, from a review of instant file, it does not appear that there has been a concerted effort to locate and fully identify W.D. Farad, inasmuch as Elijah Muhammad recognizes W.D. Farad as being Allah God and claims that Farad is the source of all of his teachings. It is suggested that an exhaustive effort be made to fully identify and locate W.D. Farad and or members of his family. The FBI took note of the article written by Erdman Doan Bainan, and it conducted a search for Farad using various aliases, including the name Ford. The search produced 2 Fords of interest, one of which was a prominent movie actor. The other was Wally D. Ford of California, arrested by Los Angeles police on November 17, 1918, on a charge of assault with a deadly weapon by the Los Angeles police, January 1926, for violation of the California Wolverine Possession Act, and by the Los Angeles police, February 15, 1926, the violation of the State Poison Act, for which he was sentenced to 6 months to 6 years at San Quentin Penitentiary on June 12, 1926. On October 17, 1957, the FBI located and interviewed Hazel Barton Ford, Wally Ford's common law wife, with whom he had a son named Wallace Dodd Ford, born September 1st, 1920. Barton gave a description of Wally Ford and described him as a Caucasian New Zealander. The FBI's search for Farad on August 15, 1959. The FBI's search for Farad was officially closed 1 year later on April 15, 1958. On August 15, 1959, the FBI sent a story to the Chicago New Crusader newspaper stating that Farad was a Turkish-born Nazi agent who worked for Hitler in World War II. According to the story, Farad was a Muslim from Turkey who had come to the United States in the early 1900s. He had met Muhammad in prison, where the 2 men plotted a confidence game in which, let me see this again. He had met Muhammad in prison, where the 2 men plotted a confidence game in which followers were charged a fee to become Muslims. After the story was published, Elijah Muhammad were subsequently able to charge black media outlets who reprinted the accusation in large numbers with running the story without requesting a response from the Nation of Islam. Well, that's common. You know, whatever the white man say, the black white man parakeets. That's been our history in this country. White folks, if white folks say you ain't no good, then we parakeet that. And that's all this was saying. It says a February 19, 1963 FBI memorandum states, in connection with efforts to disrupt and curb growth of the Nation of Islam, extensive research has been conducted into various files maintained by this office. They didn't want us to grow. Remember, in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, it says they have taken crafty counsel. It says in the 3rd verse, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. You see, well, they did what was prophesied. They tried to stop us from being a nation. And it says, a February 19th memorandum states, and quote, in connection with efforts to disrupt and curb growth of the NOI, Nation of Islam, extensive research has been conducted into various files maintained by this office. Talking about the FBI. Among the files reviewed was that of Wallace Dodd Ford, 5 months later, in July 1963, the FBI told the Los Angeles Evening Herald Examiner that Farad is actually Wallace Dodd Ford. Blank. But anyway, the paper published the story in an article titled "Black Muslim Founder Exposed as White." Exposed as white. Yeah, they said, what that picture look like that? So, I mean, anyway, it says an FBI memorandum dated the following month, August 1963, states that the FBI had not been able to verify his birth date or birthplace, and he was last heard from in 1934. The mere fact, have you thought about the fact that they never knew what happened to him, and can't find nothing on him or whatnot? He must have been somebody that's pretty smart, huh? And look what he started. It's just like saying he worked with Hitler. If he worked with Hitler, he didn't want nothing to do with black people. I mean, Hitler hated black people. What are you talking about? You know? Anyway, let me see. Carl Evans of the Washington Post conducted a Freedom of Information Act request to the FBI in 1978, requesting its files on Farad. Evans based his account of the life of Farad on the declassified portion of the FBI file, and he received about a decade after his request. Evans detailed the experience of several other authors who based their accounts of the life of Farad on the FBI file as well. Even after the FBI showed you that they didn't want to do nothing but disrupt the Nation of Islam. But anyway, it says from the FBI's response to the Freedom of Information Act request, Carl Evans claimed that Farad, using the name Fred Dodd, married Pearl Allen in Multnomah County, Oregon, on May 9, 1914, with their first child, a son born the next year. Dodd left his family in 1916 and moved to Los Angeles using the name Wally Dodd Ford. A World War I draft registration card for Wally Dodd Ford from 1917 indicated he was living in Los Angeles. Now he done went from being a operative of Hitler to being in World War I in the United States military. Then he says unmarried as a, wait a minute. Dodd left his family in 1916 and moved to Los Angeles using the name Wally Dodd Ford. A World War I draft registration card for Wally Dodd Ford from 1917 indicated he was living in Los Angeles, unmarried, as a restaurant owner, and reported that he was born in Shinka, Afghanistan on February 26, 1893. Well, you got his birthday wrong. So he was described as being of medium height, build, with brown eyes and black hair on the draft card. Ford is written in parentheses. No reason is given. At the bottom of the card, he signed his name as Wally Dodd Ford. As of 1920, Ford was living in Los Angeles as 26-year-old Wally Dodd Ford with his 25-year-old wife, Hazel. In the 1920 United States Census, he reported his race as white, his occupation as a proprietor of a restaurant, and gave his place of birth as New Zealand. He provided no known place of birth for his parents, nor his date of immigration. A marriage certificate dated June 5th, 1924 was issued to Wally Dodd Ford and Carmen Trevino in Orange County, California. Ford reported he was a cook, age 26, born in Oregon, but living in Los Angeles. He reported he was of Spanish race. His parents' names are given as Zaradad Ford of Madrid, Spain. I guess they said Spain, but I assume they just misspelled it, Spain. Presumably Madrid, Spain, and Babji, whatever that is. Okay. I want to thank the brother for this article here. Much of what's in the article is true. You know, at least they did acknowledge that the FBI was, you know, trying to get rid of the Nation of Islam, and they was using whatever information they could put together to misrepresent, you know. They didn't know nothing about Master Farad Muhammad. So they went and found something and threw it out there. And got some of the black skinned papers to print it and, you know, go along with it. So thank you, brother. Did you have something else you wanted to ask me about that article? Is he still there?
Yes, yeah. I was gonna say the article is true though. He was a spy for Nazi Germany though. The FBI told the truth about that.
If that's what you think, brother, I can't stop you from thinking that. If that's what you gleaned from that, but they had already admitted they didn't know nothing about it. So, and
so that's what the reporter admitted.
If he was a spy for Nazi Germany, then why would he be over here trying to help us?
Because he did hate. Because he was trying. Because he hated black people. He was trying to raise money for Arab organizations.
Is that why he taught us how to eat to live? Because he hated us?
He was trying to make black people Muslims so they could join with Arabs.
Look at me. Are you looking at me on the internet?
No, I'm listening to you on my phone.
Well, you go to the internet, and when have you seen a almost 65-year-old man be as in good health as you see me? I got this from what Master Farad Muhammad was teaching us. Now, how in the world you gonna say that a man that meant me harm taught me something that's good for me? See, the problem with you, brother, is that you don't really have any sincerity about seeking truth. Your basic thing is to come in here and poke fun. I feel sorry for you. Because even when people show you respect, you still don't come up out of that childish thing of playing the class clown and all that kind of thing. I feel sorry for you, man.
What did I clown about? Master Farad was a spy for Nazi Germany.
I just read the whole article, and ain't nobody in here got out of it what you just said. And nobody that's listening agree that they think Master Farad Muhammad was some kind of spy for Hitler.
He wasn't even black. He was a white boy. You can look at him.
I tell you what. I read the article, and if you want to keep believing like you believe, you're welcome to do that. That's your privilege. Matter of fact,
it's only true.
That's your right. And if that's what you think it is, you have the right to think that it's truth, what you believe in. You know, I've went to places like I had a brother that was put in Norwalk, and I was walking around in there when I was back in junior high school, and I was looking at all of those people that's in there. Some of them was having conversations with somebody that wasn't there and whatnot, and there's no way that you could have told them that what they was, you know, that what they was believing they was talking to or who they was talking to, that to them, the person was there. And so if that's what you believe, I can't undo that.
I can't guide him whom Allah leaves in error. And so I pray Allah that he have mercy on him. That's all. And but again, thank you for that article, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep this one. Keep this as new. All right. Now, did anyone else have something they wanted to ask me? So now, it's just like what I just experienced with this brother. That's the way a lot of people are about, I don't care what you bring them. They already got a made up mind that they want to help lynch Dr. Cosby. And so it don't make no difference how much that there's no evidence. They think that just because a lot of people said you did something, that's evidence. But if you look up let me show you here. I'm going to show you what I'm getting at here. You know, people are something, man. Oops. I guess that's how you spell it. Allegation. Allegation. An assertion that someone has done something wrong, often without proof. That's the first definition of allegation. Did Janice Dickinson offer any proof of what she was accusing Dr. Cosby of? No. Did Jewel Allison offer any proof? No. Has any of those women offered any proof? Yet, you hear all these people talking about, he must have did it. All them people ain't gonna lie on you. You live in the lying capital of the world. That's what a lot of them people in Congress mad at President Obama about. Because when he was campaigning, they thought he was doing what they was doing, lying. Then he started trying to do everything he promised, and they got mad at him. I sure am in on this. Let's draft Joe Biden. I believe he really cares about the people in this country. I truly, he comes off as a person who really cares about people. You know, he ain't up there trying to run game. I didn't say he's a saint. You know, but I do believe that he cares about this country and its people. And I don't care you know, you'd be surprised at how much true love and compassion covers a lot of, as it said, true love covers a multitude of sins. You know what that means is his caring about his country and his people will make him hard to deceive. Because every decision he makes will be based on how is this going to affect my people. It's hard to trick somebody into doing something that's harmful to someone that they love.
because they are always going to look before they leave. They're always going to check and double check to make sure that what they about to agree to ain't gonna cause no harm. Do you understand? You know, so you know, I don't want to be the source of no harm coming to my people. No. So I'm careful what I agree to. What is that noise, brother? Who is that? Took their phone off mute. Unmute his phone for a minute. Brother, what is it that you, or sister, what is it that you got your phone off mute for?
You still lying about Master Farad Muhammad not being a spy.
You can, you know, you leave your line muted, brother. I don't say all I want to say on that. If you believe that, then you believe that. Ain't nothing I can do about that. So, I mean, why are you still hanging out in here? Since you think I'm such a liar, what are you hanging out in here for? Why don't you just go on and leave us in peace? Okay. That's the difference in me and you. When somebody tell me they don't want to be bothered with me, I leave them alone. That's the kind of stuff get you hurt. When people tell you to leave them alone, you should leave them alone. And now, that's what they need to be preaching about. No means no, and leave me alone mean leave me alone. Because when a man tells you to leave him alone and you continue, then it is a disrespect of his manhood. That's a wrong road to go down. Well, that's what you need to learn about how you deal with the police out there too. That man pull up in that uniform and that car, whatnot, and he pull over. He pull you over. Ain't no sense you mouthing off at him. I mean, if you want the truth, he can stop you for GP. I mean, it's his country. So if he stop you, recognize that he the man out there. And no matter what you do, you can't win. Well, then show him that you recognize that he has authority out there. That's his street. That car with that blue light on top of it, or that red light, makes that his street. Do you understand? Ain't nobody else get behind you and flash a light and you pull over. well, if he flash his light on you, what you got to do? Well, whose street is that? Well, then. You don't go arguing and fighting with somebody over what's theirs. Put yourself in his position and then ask, how would you want to be done if your roles were reversed? Then that's what you do to him. You see? All right. I'm showing you how to live. You want to do something else? Well, that's on you. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me how to deal with them. And Master Farad Muhammad taught him. Got that mouthing off and going on at them people. So anyway, I was looking at so many of the injustices that go on. I got something I'm going to show you. I told you I'm not feeling that fit for my job this evening, but I'm going to do my job.
Out of the plane, but then could no longer walk after the sort of first shock.
Let's see. I think this is it.
Every day, just simply using it as your toothpaste, you know you'll have that peace of.
Yeah, that's it.
Simply using it as your toothpaste.
Now, I want you to turn to the 18th chapter of Revelation. This is why they hate me so much. So I told you, I can take what you say and make you bear me witness. It's the 18th chapter of Revelation, and it says, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven." Another angel is another messenger. See, after a long cessation of messengers, Elijah came. And he said, "I saw another angel come down from heaven. And having great power," knowledge is power. I mean, that man had great knowledge. It says, "And the earth was enlightened with his understanding." It says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils." You ain't heard nobody say that but Elijah Muhammad. And it says, "And a hold of every foul spirit, in a cage of every unclean and what? Hateful bird." Look at this here.
These magnificent creatures take flight, soaring away from home towards the promise of a better existence. But these birds are suffering because this better place turned out to have a less reliable cell phone network, and the videos on their little bird.
Just a minute. Oh, I gotta hook it up to the other phone. Just a minute. You all pardon me a minute. I forgot one of my lines is messed up, so I have to hook this into the line that ain't. Y'all give me a minute here. And we'll get right in a minute. Okay. Let's try it again. Yeah, I saw this commercial. I said, well, they bearing witness. You know, birds. You know why the scripture compare people to birds? Because the word of God is compared to air. The breath of life. God breathed the breath of life. The physical breath of life is the air. The spiritual breath of life is the word. And what kind of creatures can fly on the air? Well, the mind does to the word of God as birds do to the air. Do you understand? Now, all the birds that you see in the air ain't necessarily nice little creatures. Some of them is hateful, ain't they? Yes. All right. So, I'm just trying to show you that I'm not the one out of touch.
Watch as these magnificent creatures take flight, soaring away from home towards the promise of a better existence. But these birds are suffering, because this better place turned out to have a less reliable cell phone network, and the videos on their little bird phones kept buffering. Birds hate that. So they came back home. Come home to Verizon and now get 12 gigs for $80 a month plus $20 per line. Verizon.
So he helped me make my point. Babylon has become a cage of every unclean and hateful mind. The kind of grandmothers I wouldn't have expected. You know, I didn't bring Miss Ruley in here to get into all that old graphic talk about Bill Cosby. I just brought her in there to let her tell me whether or not he raped her or not. I don't need to hear about it. He didn't rape her, but she started talking about all of this pornography stuff, which told me all I need to know. These people ain't got no shame, which means they don't care what they say or who they say it about. Do you understand? So, she lost my, understand something. When I say lost my respect, I will always show people the courtesy and respect that I want to be shown. But respect as that you show someone that you think has dignity and that kind of thing. She lost that with me when she started talking like that. No. She have no dignity. Certain things that a lady, woman just don't let come out of her mouth. It's just certain things you don't do. And you listen to them talk, and they tell you what kind of what level their mind is on. They Janice Dickinson, same thing, cursing and swearing and going on, and then you want to come in here thinking you're gonna convince me of your lie. That ain't gonna work, not with me. And then you get mad and cuss me out because I don't go for your lie. No, that don't work. You see? And I just feel sorry for Miss Aldrich because she done got caught up in this mess. And she ain't got no business even getting in there. But that's her, So I can't go along with her. But she wrong. You represent liars. So, did anybody have something they wanted to take me to task on what I just said? I ain't gonna just throw it out there and don't let you. If you think I said something I shouldn't. I'm ready to take what you think you got to say. And why don't y'all pass this around? Get me some people in here that keep on talking about they accusing Bill Cosby. When that fella Hannibal Burris ought to be shamed that he let them people talk him into that. He didn't think that up on his own. That's something they put him up to. I don't. I would never let you use me to purposely defame anybody. No. If If I got a problem with a person, I don't need no gang of people to help me lie on them. And if I don't have any proof other than somebody said it, I wouldn't be out there parakeeting that as if it was a fact. If I was going to repeat it, I would say so-and-so told me, but I don't know. No, man, y'all. These are some very unjust people. That man ain't never even been arrested. And they canceling his shows, canceling the contracts that they entered into with him. Why? And you know them news people, them channel CNN and Fox and MSNBC need to be careful too, because they was putting that mess out there. Why you put that out there and didn't demand that these people show you some proof? And if you have no proof, I can't air that. That's wrong what they doing. Which of you all think that's right? I wonder how right you think it is if somebody, just a bunch of people got up and accused you of something that they didn't have no proof of. Would you think it was right then? Would you be mad at me then if I was speaking up for you? Not saying that you didn't do it. I'm saying he said he didn't do it, and all they're doing is saying he did. And I'm more inclined to believe that he didn't, because what did he have to gain from doing that? But he had everything to lose. And also, you heard, I don't even have to say I heard it. I done seen women go to a concert. And man, some of the stuff they be doing, didn't you hear Otis talk about what they was doing with the Temptation? Didn't you hear Jimmy Walker tell you what, if you not in, then getting a woman ain't no hard thing for a movie star. You know why a lot of them didn't want to be questioned in depth? I mean, how you get out in public and you tell a person, you say that this, you get out there and a famous person and you just saying all kind of things about them. Then when you're invited to come on and answer some questions, you say, I can't talk about it until we get to court. Well, if you didn't want to talk about it till you got to court, what you bring it up in the public for? Something about that don't sound right, do it? Why are you in a hurry to get to court? Because it's all fixed. You got to fix in. Every one of y'all that hear me now, put some feelers out there and see if you can get some of them women to come in here so we can question them. If they telling the truth, they ought to want to get the truth told, shouldn't they? They didn't mind getting the picture. Let me show you something. They out there taking pictures and putting them on the front of the magazine. Huh? So they can't say they don't want it to get out. So why don't they come in here and get the story out? All they want to do is go where they can put slander out there. They want to go where ain't nobody going to question the validity of what they're saying. Now, is that right? Is that the way you would want to be done? Where's all this power that Bill Cosby supposedly had? Is any of the networks doing anything for him? Are they? Then, so obviously he wasn't the powerful man that they set up there and told you and me, right? Well, if they lied about that, what else they done lied about? Do you see my point now? Yeah. And, you know, how many of y'all saw Django? You remember that role that Samuel was playing? Samuel Jackson? And the other house, you know where the term house Negro come from, don't you? That the house Negro was serving master, not out in the field picking cotton, but he's serving master and all of that for master, right? He was a pet. And house Negro loved master, right? And you remember when Django came there and Samuel Jackson's character, he said, boys, them niggas know each other. Is that right? House Negro see another one that don't seem to be as enthusiastic in the house? It offends him. If the shoe fit. Y'all speaking up for because he about us out here in the field. Is that what? Is that the problem? Because I done heard of many of them get and I look, I don't resent you for having money, man. I'm glad you have money. I don't resent you for not helping me. I feel sorry for you. Because you are a role model for me of what not to be. If I was up there and had all of them millions, I'd have hoped that I would have come back and offered like Dr. Cosby offered. Are you aware that advice and good advice and wise guidance is worth more than writing a check for some money? Because a person that's teaching you how to acquire money by teaching you how not to waste. And the man was trying to share with you and me to stop wasting so much. He's trying to tell you and me how to keep our life in a world that's bent on destroying us. And then you see them attack him. You males, he told you to pull your pants up. That's what you're mad at him about? Because he told you to pull up your pants and dress like a man? You mad at him because he told you to stop cursing and swearing? And disrespecting your mother and your sister? That's why you hate him? Because he told you you ought to clean up your community? Well, I'm on his side. So now you show me what's wrong with the position I've taken. I'm anxious to hear your critique of why you feel I'm wrong for taking up his cause as being my cause. I know you cannot change a person's mind by being unreasonable. Even if they're wrong, you cannot change their mind by being unreasonable. And it's unreasonable to go to a person who has, who may have a legitimate complaint, assuming that they are lying. The law, when it says that you have the presumption of innocence in the court of law, that does not mean that they presuming that the other person is lying on you. They presume your innocence and puts the burden on the person that is making an allegation against you that, okay, I can't just go because it's your word. Put the evidence out here and let's see it. They give you evidence. I'm giving these people a chance. I didn't say court of public opinion. Miss Aldrich said a court of public opinion. Well, why not march them women one by one through here? I done had a couple of them, and their stories just didn't hold up. Was I disrespectful to them? Or was I simply just asking questions about what they had been saying? And, you know, I mean, to this day, I don't understand how you saying that a 15-year-old was in the Playboy Mansion and you suing a patron, but you ain't suing the owner of the place. I don't understand that one. I wish some lawyers would come in here and explain it to me. What y'all got going on? That's the very reason I said that, you know, eventually we're going to send people to law school that will come back and talk to us. That's what we're going to do. What y'all do? You get in there and you get all these degrees and stuff, and then somehow when you get back, I told you ain't nothing but black Caucasians. You don't care nothing about us. What is the problem with coming in here talking to us and explaining to us why Dr. Cosby is being done like that? If it's a just thing that you're doing, why can't we question you about what you're doing? And if it's not just, how come y'all not standing up for that brother? Ain't no money in it? Nobody have to pay me to say that it's wrong to lynch you. Okay. All right. See, can't get no, ain't nobody listening, I guess. You know, people ain't really looking for the truth now. People looking for you to tickle their ear. They don't want nothing that's demand you stand for something. So I'm gonna let you go now. I just wanted to make sure that you couldn't say that I ran. I don't run from questions. I look for questions. That's the only way you can really claim and feel safe, is if every question that needed to be asked was asked and answered, and you can still say that your position is sound, that you're standing on solid ground. Because if the position you've taken cannot stand to be questioned, you're not on a rock, you're on sand, and your house gonna fall. I can say why I speak up for Dr. Cosby. I can say why I speak up for President Obama. I can say why I speak like I do about Joseph Biden in all of their favors. I can say why I have favored them. Because those who I see who do not favor them, I have found that their reasons are unjustified. if I take a stand on the side of injustice, then when the punishment for it comes down for me taking for people who were unjust, when the punishment comes down from God on those who were unjust, it will come down on me too for being. No, I'm not going to knowingly side with someone who has committed injustice. I'm not going to knowingly side with you. No. I heard somebody take their phone off mute. Who is that, brother?
May Allah assalamu alaikum, son, man.
Wa alaikum Allah salam.
I was just going to say that they convicted Mike Tyson in Indianapolis over the woman saying stop. And look how powerful he was.
Well, like I said, people talk about, like I said, you know, I mean, a woman go up to the man's room and 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, they have relations and she saw an opportunity. That's all it looked like to me. I mean, what? Just holler rape. Get paid. Man, you know, it's sad, but it's true. And that don't mean that just because a woman says somebody raped her, that it didn't happen either. That's something that has to be decided case by case. And best way to check it is to examine each one as an individual separate case. Because there's certain things you can't fake. Okay, you might fool, you know, I look at TV, yeah, they put on a good act. But I know an act. It's ways it's questions you can ask, and it's responses that you will get, which will tell you everything you need to know about who's faking and who ain't. You want me to tell you what they is? Huh? Yeah, you can want me to. I'm not gonna tell you. But I know how to get at the truth with people. If I go to examine you, when I get through, you'll be well examined. So, remember, said, whosoever that stone fall on, you grind them into powder. That's the only way to examine solid things. Grind it to powder. Look at every little thing that's in it. Yeah. So, you see, it didn't take me long to examine Miss Rule in there. Even you saw it after a few questions. Did you see it? Well, all right then. Yeah. I can show you what's there. So, anybody else got something they wanted to interject or share or say? I'm so happy that the station is getting ready to go 24/7. You know, there's a Hall of Fame induction that the station is going to be a part of. That's coming up in October, I think. I think I want to be at that. So if I feel up to it, I'm going to come. If it pleases Allah. I'll tell you something else. Nations don't come to an end just because a person passes away. Not if it's really a nation. Do you understand? We want you on your, you can't be in one of the greatest nations that was ever raised up and don't learn nothing. Do you not see how they stick together? Do you not see how they respect, at least they did, they respected their Constitution. They continued on the path that their fathers set them on, didn't they? You want to copy something, copy that. Honor your father and your mother. And just, just like right now, they can put a stop to all this foolishness that's going on, all this division, talking about some red states, blue states. They can put a stop to that anytime they get ready. All they got to do is remember that they are brothers. And anybody come in there talking about something else, tell them, hey, you sit down. A house divided against itself can't stand. Huh? And you want to sow discord among brothers? No. Don't listen to no discord. Remember what you are. United, we stand. Divided, we fall. Huh? That's a song, ain't it? So remember that. That's the one lesson that every country on the face of the earth. They so busy talking America down. But if the Shiites and the Sunnis would just remember that they are Muslim brothers, all that stuff over there with ISIL wouldn't be necessary. They wouldn't be doing all that stuff. Well, since when can Muslims sit down and reason with each other and come to some equitable agreement? That's because you're not a Muslim. Well, you want to kill your brother. And talking about you got some religion to offer somebody. You got nothing but a rag. How you represent the God of peace and ain't got no peace? I can make peace with anybody who's sane. And even if a man is insane, I got sense enough not to make it worse. I'm not trying to undermine the white man and his government and his way. I just want to unite my people and go the way that God have given us to go. That's all. If you let me, that's what I'll do. And I'll even help. I'll help everybody that won't help. You don't have to look like me, because I know you and me anyway, whether you look like me or not. There ain't but one human family on this planet, and we are all a part of it. And we need to stop trying to hurt each other. Now that's just the bottom line. So, my life and my death is all for the human family. So, always got people. You know, I'm glad I ain't hungry, raggedy, and out of doors. Less people that say, yeah, nigga ain't got none. That's why he so wake up. But I can write a check for $10,000 and don't be broke. 20,000 too. 30,000 too. But that don't make me proud. It just make me know that I got some people who trust me and trusted me enough to put some of their wealth in my hands and trusted me to do the right thing with it. And thus far, I've done the right thing with it. That's how I can justify asking you to trust me with some more. So, my frame can feel this. I remember the messenger when I was a younger man, and he said, I used to hear him talking. He said, you could sit a long time and listen if someone would do the hard job of standing up deep. And I filling all my boots, so to say, in my 20s. And I thought to myself, I said, standing up teaching. I said, what's hard about that? Man, it's a hard job standing up for 3 and 4 and 5 hours teaching somebody. That's more than the notion. You know, I understand that now. So, but you know what makes it worth it? My little brother that was in here a little while ago, he was fussing about Master Farah Muhammad. But he didn't curse at me. And for the most part, he showed me the courtesy of respecting my request. When he used to cuss me out, that's what makes it worth it. If you know, if you're going to change this building, if you're going to remodel it and make it into something else, it ain't going to be there as soon as you decide that you're going to remodel it. If you're going to convert it or change it to something else, that's going to take some time. I know he would probably say, oh man, you ain't changing me. You don't already start changing. You are more mature now than you were when I first met you. You are more brotherly now than you were when I first met you. And I just wanted you to know that I have noticed a difference and that I appreciate it. That's all. If you ain't changed right away, you didn't get like you are right away either. It took time to mess us up. And it's going to take time to straighten us out. But we're going to straighten ourselves out. Then we're going to straighten out the world. All right? Okay. So I thank my little brother. Or if nothing else, we agree to disagree. On that particular point. That's fine. You know, just remember, I'm a product of Master Farad Muhammad's teaching. And so far, I haven't did you no harm. So, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me that's who taught him. I never met him. Never seen him, except on a picture. So I can't act like I'm some great authority on him. I can only tell you that the one who was an authority on him, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, told me that he was God in person and that he raised him and sent him back to raise me. And so, as I look at what the FBI said, who I know got a history of hating me, got a history of working to destroy me, who shall I believe? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his account of Master Farad Muhammad, or the FBI? I'm going to believe the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, for my elders, my daddy never said this, but my other daddies said it. Take a village to raise a child. So when I was out with some of my collective or extended fathers, they used to say, hey, young blood, I'd be talking about what somebody said. Consider the source, young man. What he said. I know what source meant, and I know what consider meant. And so I knew he meant, who is this that's bringing you this news? You sure you need to take that and run with it, considering who brought it to you? You know, if somebody who have not proven that they have your best interests at heart brings you news, I'm not telling you to ignore it. But before you believe it, you better go and check it out very thoroughly and ask him some questions. And if he don't put himself in a position and he's saying it, you notice the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught what he taught about Master Farad Muhammad publicly and him on it. I tell you what, as members of the FBI listening to us now, Homeland Security, why don't you come into this forum and let me question you about what y'all say about Master Farad Muhammad? If you're not willing to do that, then you need to burn them records that you've been, that propaganda that you've been putting out there, claiming that it's some kind of factual information, when you don't know nothing about Master Farad Muhammad. If you knew anything, you wouldn't have all these different stories you done put up out there. So, you know, I don't have no respect for people who say things that they can't be questioned on. The only time you can say something that and not expect questions on it is when you're talking to people who have agreed that they are your followers. But when you talking to people who have not agreed that they trust you, how they gonna ever trust you if you don't put yourself in a position where they can question you about what you say? So, does that sound reasonable to you? All right then. I don't expect somebody who's my follower to be asking me a bunch of acidine questions. When you get to the point where you don't think you need to follow me, then you can ask me questions. I might answer you, I might not. Because generally, I take questions from people who I'm trying to convert. And I'm not obligated to try to reconvert anybody. Do you understand? The minute you start disbelieving, it's time for you to go on. Just leave me alone. That's the way that goes. So I'm living in a world where people claim to know so much. And if you listen to their claims, it really sounds really good. But when you look at the evidence, you find just the opposite. I don't know what the statistics are. But look at all of these people who claim to know so much about how to counsel you and give you marriage counseling and all of that. And look at lawyers that make a living doing nothing but divorces. Do you know how many people got to be getting divorced for you to make a living doing that? We ain't gonna even talk about undertakers. Anytime enough people dying where a man can make his living just burying folks, you got issues, man. And if you ain't burying them, they're sick. Hospitals just full of people. And it's all because people love money more than they love people. Because if you really cared about each other, you really would not need any money. You don't care nothing about nobody. You put on an act like you do. But any of you that come and sitting up there listening to me, and out of all them people that said they wanted to help, not even half of them showed up to the meeting. Now I'm gonna see who live up to the agreement. I'm praying Allah that all of you do just what we agreed on. Next month, I expect them funds to be in that account. So, and we're gonna do that every month, and we're gonna start building our people, building ourselves up, and getting in a position where we can do more for our people. I want to see you rich because I know that if you rich, I could come to you and get more to help our people. So I want you to be rich, and I'm gonna show you. I intend to make you that. So you just, like I tell you, thank you. I can't thank you enough for showing up. And we made our agreement. We're gonna do this. Now, anybody got something they want to ask or say? So, like I said, my little brother might be growing slow, but he's growing. And again, I thank him for that article he sent me. Well, that was a good article. So again, thank you, brother. So may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. And we will, I look forward to talking with you some more Sunday. And y'all help me get them Cosby accusers in here so we can check some more of them off the list. Okay? All right. They ran the CNN. They ran the Fox. Come on, run to the internet. That's worldwide. You have a lot of people interested in what you got to say. But we just want to ask you a few questions. May Allah's Salam alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped.